Imagine waking up tomorrow with total clarity, every thought, every action, every ounce of your energy locked onto one mission. What would your life look like if distractions vanished, doubt disappeared, and momentum became unstoppable? Most people drift through life scattered, overwhelmed, chasing 10 things at once, achieving nothing. But when you focus your mind on one mission, something extraordinary happens. You tap into a power inside you that magnifies your energy, sharpens your decisions, and creates breakthroughs that feel impossible. Tonight, I want to show you how to harness that focus and ignite the life you were born to live. Clarity is the moment everything changes. You know that feeling when your mind is pulling you in 10 different directions, and even though you're moving, you're not getting anywhere? It's like pressing the gas pedal with the brakes still on. Most people live their entire lives that way, busy, exhausted, overcommitted, but not aligned. And then they wonder why they're not seeing progress. But the second you choose one mission, just one, the brakes come off. Suddenly the chaos that once overwhelmed you becomes energy you can finally use. Clarity is power, not because it gives you all the answers, but because it eliminates everything that isn't the answer. When you wake up in the morning, knowing exactly what you're after, there's a calm sense of direction that replaces anxiety. Your mind stops negotiating with itself. The internal voices arguing about what matters and what doesn't. They fall silent. You are no longer trying to juggle 10 identities. You become one person with one mission, and that is enough to transform the way you show up in the world. You move from confusion to conviction. Think about the last time you truly knew what you wanted. Notice how your body shifts, how your breathing steadies, how your thoughts tighten. That's clarity working through you. That's the moment you stop being dragged by life and start driving it. And the truth is, most people aren't lacking potential, they're lacking direction. They think they need more motivation, but what they're really missing is a clear target. Because when the target is clear, motivation takes care of itself. Clarity strips away hesitation. You stop second guessing. You stop asking, should I do this? Instead, the question becomes, how fast can I make it happen? And that shift, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, is the difference between a life of distraction and a life of destiny. When you choose one mission, you give your mind a simple instruction it can follow with precision. You stop trying to operate 3 different maps at once. You choose one path, one direction, one destination, and every step becomes easier. There's a moment in everyone's life when they realize they've been spreading themselves too thin, not because they're weak or incapable, but because they never stop long enough to choose what truly matters. And clarity forces that moment. It asks you the hard questions. What are you committed to? What are you willing to sacrifice for it? What are you willing to walk away from? Because the truth is, clarity isn't just about what you say yes to. It's about what you no longer tolerate. You start seeing the difference between activity and progress. You recognize which habits drain you and which habits feed you. You begin noticing who around you aligns with your mission and who distracts you from it. You start valuing your time in a way you never have before, because clarity makes time feel precious, intentional, and purposeful. And once you experience that level of focus, you'll never go back to the scattered version of yourself. Clarity becomes a filter. Every thought, opportunity, and decision has to pass through that filter. Does this move me toward my mission? Yes or no? No maybes, no excuses, no halfway decisions. Just alignment. You stop carrying the weight of unnecessary obligations. You stop allowing other people's expectations to determine your direction. You stop chasing every idea that pops into your head. You become deliberate. Every great breakthrough in history started because someone became crystal clear on the mission. They weren't smarter, they weren't luckier, they were focused. And when you choose one mission, you unlock the same force. The more you refine your focus, the more powerful your actions become. You're no longer living by accident, you're living by design. This level of clarity changes your emotional state. When you have one mission, stress decreases because your brain isn't overwhelmed with options. Anxiety fades because your mind isn't split. Distraction loses its grip because you don't have room for anything that doesn't serve your mission. You start operating from certainty instead of fear, purpose instead of pressure, presence instead of chaos. And the people around you feel it. They sense the conviction in your voice. They notice the shift in your energy. They see the discipline in your behavior. A person with clarity is magnetic. They stand out in a world full of confusion. They move differently, speak differently, think differently. They attract opportunities because they radiate certainty. People want to follow someone who knows where they're going. Clarity forces growth. It demands you rise to a new standard. Because once you commit to one mission, you can't hide behind excuses anymore. You can't blame circumstances. You can't pretend you're waiting for the right moment. The moment you choose clarity, you take ownership. You take responsibility for every step forward and every step you've avoided taking. And that responsibility becomes freedom. Your mission becomes your anchor. When life gets loud, you don't get lost. You return to what matters. When challenges show up, you don't collapse. You adapt. When you feel tired, you don't quit. You realign. Clarity gives you a place to stand, a place to fight from, a place to build from. You become unshakable because you know exactly what you're fighting for. And here's the truth. You don't need to have the whole journey mapped out. You just need to know the direction, one mission, one focus, one calling that pulls you forward. Because once your mind locks onto it, the path starts to reveal itself. You start noticing solutions you were blind to before. You start meeting people who propel you forward. You start seeing opportunities that were always there but hidden behind your uncertainty. The moment clarity enters your life, everything accelerates. You make decisions faster. You take action sooner. You execute with confidence. You become a force of nature. And the world responds to that kind of certainty. Doors open that once felt locked. Ideas flow that once felt distant. Energy rises that once felt drained. Clarity is the catalyst for momentum. It's the spark that ignites your mission and the fuel that keeps it alive. The entire direction of your life can shift in one single moment of clarity, one decision, one mission, one focus. That's all it takes to turn chaos into power. Energy is everything. Most people think they need more time, more luck, more resources, but the real difference between someone who achieves extraordinary results and someone who just drifts through life is energy. And not just random energy, but focused energy. When you try to do everything at once, when your attention is scattered across 10 different priorities, your energy is like a light bulb. It spreads thin, warming the room a little, but illuminating nothing clearly. But when you focus on one mission, your energy transforms. It becomes like a laser, intense, precise, unstoppable. Suddenly, what used to feel impossible begins to feel inevitable. The secret is that energy follows attention. Wherever you put your focus, that's where your energy flows. If your mind is bouncing from one task to another, you feel tired, frustrated, and stuck. But when you lock onto one purpose, all of your physical, mental, and emotional resources start moving in the same direction. It's like pouring water into one narrow channel instead of trying to fill 10 leaky buckets. The difference is night and day. One focused mind creates a force multiplier that magnifies your effort, your influence, and your results. Think about it for a moment. How often have you started a project with excitement only to have your attention pulled away by distractions, doubts, or new ideas? That scattered energy is wasted energy. You've been conditioned to think multitasking is a strength, but in reality, it dilutes your power. When you focus on one mission, that changes. Every thought, every action, every ounce of effort gets concentrated toward a single goal. And once your energy is aligned, everything else becomes easier. You move faster. You decide faster. You act faster. Focused energy is not just physical. It's emotional, mental, and spiritual as well. Your mind becomes sharper because it isn't overloaded with competing priorities. Your emotions stabilize because you're no longer riding the waves of indecision or regret. Even your physical energy increases because there's less mental friction draining you. It's as if your entire system, the body, the mind, the heart, becomes tuned like a high-performance engine, all cylinders firing together, all working toward one mission. This is where the magic happens. When energy is focused, you start to notice things that others don't see. Opportunities, solutions, and breakthroughs that were invisible before suddenly become clear. Your brain starts connecting the dots in ways it never did when it was scattered. You begin to anticipate challenges before they appear. You find resources you didn't know were available. People notice it too. They sense your intensity, your purpose, your unstoppable drive. Focused energy doesn't just change results. It changes how the world responds to you. The transformation is dramatic because focus creates momentum. Momentum is the most powerful force in achievement. Once you've aligned your energy behind one mission, you start moving forward with speed and precision. Each action compounds the previous one. Small wins accelerate into bigger wins. Challenges that used to stop you feel like minor bumps on the road. Energy focused on one mission builds unstoppable momentum, and momentum is what separates ordinary lives from extraordinary ones. And here's another crucial truth. When you focus your energy, you also protect it. In our modern world, distractions are everywhere. Email, social media, endless obligations. Every time you switch attention, it costs you energy. One study showed that shifting focus between tasks can reduce productivity by as much as 40%. But when your mind is locked on one mission, you don't waste energy on unimportant tasks or reactive behavior. You conserve your power for what actually matters. You become disciplined without effort, persistent without struggle, and unstoppable without chaos. Focused energy is also contagious. When you bring your energy fully into one mission, people around you feel it. They are drawn to your intensity, inspired by your commitment, and motivated to step up themselves. You create an environment where excellence is natural, where mediocrity can't survive. That ripple effect extends far beyond your personal results. It changes the way your team, your family, or your community interacts with you, and that amplifies your impact even more. But here's the reality: most people never experience this kind of focused energy because they're afraid to give up other options. They think, if I focus on one mission, I'll miss out on something else. The truth is, when you spread yourself thin, you already miss out on everything. By focusing on one mission, you don't lose life, you gain it. You gain intensity, you gain clarity, you gain unstoppable power. The sacrifice of scattered effort creates the freedom to excel, to dominate, and to achieve more than you ever imagined. The human body and mind are designed for focus, but they rebel against scatter. Nature doesn't reward dilution, it rewards concentration. Look at any great achiever throughout history. They weren't more talented than you. They weren't luckier. They were relentless with their focus. Their energy was channeled in one direction. And that one-pointed intensity produced results that seem impossible to anyone watching from the outside. You can do the same. All it takes is a decision to commit fully, to direct your energy like a laser toward the mission that matters most. When your energy becomes laser-focused, life starts to respond differently. Problems shrink, obstacles fade, and clarity grows even stronger. The difference isn't just in what you accomplish, it's in who you become. Focused energy builds confidence because every action feeds the next. It builds courage because each step forward proves you are capable. It builds momentum because results start compounding in your favor. And once that cycle starts, it becomes self-perpetuating. The more you focus, the more energy you generate. The more energy you generate, the more results you create. And the most beautiful part, you start enjoying the process. Focus doesn't feel like struggle because it brings alignment. When you're aligned with your mission, even the hardest work feels easier. You feel alive, motivated, and unstoppable. You're not just moving through life, you're commanding it. And that is the difference between drifting aimlessly and achieving greatness. Energy is the currency of achievement. And focused energy is the wealth that turns dreams into reality. When your mind, body, and heart are fully aligned with one mission, nothing can stop you. You don't just move, you soar. You don't just act, you dominate, and the ripple effects touch everything around you. Focused energy is your superpower, waiting to be unleashed. When you focus your mind on one mission, something incredible begins to happen inside of you. It's not just about getting things done, it's about transforming who you are. You see, every action you take reinforces a belief, and every belief shapes your identity. Most people spend their lives reacting to circumstances, adjusting their behavior based on what seems convenient or safe, without ever realizing that their identity, the person they think they are, is the single greatest force influencing their results. But when you commit to one mission, your identity begins to rewire itself in ways that make success inevitable. You stop being someone who hopes or wishes, and you become someone who acts, someone who embodies the very outcome you're pursuing. Imagine for a moment what it means to truly adopt an identity aligned with your mission. Before, you might have said, I want to be successful, but success was vague, distant, and easy to ignore. You might have said, I want to live healthier, but without a clear focus, every choice was negotiable. But when you anchor yourself to one mission, the statement shifts from wishful thinking to declaration, I am this person. I live this mission. This is who I am. And when that identity takes root, your behavior no longer relies on fleeting motivation. Motivation comes and goes, but identity is permanent. Your choices, your habits, and your actions start to reflect the person you've decided to become, not the person you used to be. This transformation is subtle at first, but it is unstoppable. You begin noticing inconsistencies between who you say you are and what you do. Those inconsistencies become intolerable. You can't pretend to be committed one day and complacent the next. You can't say, I am a focused, driven person, and then let distractions control your life, your identity demands alignment, and it forces your mind and body to step into the reality you are creating. Every small victory reinforces the new self, and every disciplined action strengthens the neural pathways that make that self automatic. The power of identity is also deeply emotional. When your mission aligns with who you are becoming, your confidence grows naturally. Fear diminishes because fear is tied to uncertainty. And when you know who you are and what you stand for, uncertainty disappears. Doubt loses its grip because doubt is the voice of a person who hasn't yet claimed their power. But once your identity is tied to a mission, doubt becomes irrelevant. You no longer operate from hesitation, you operate from certainty, and that certainty is magnetic. People sense it. They respond to it. Doors open that were previously closed, opportunities appear that seemed impossible, and challenges that once intimidated you now feel like stepping stones. The process of rewiring your identity also transforms your habits. Habits are simply behaviors repeated over time, but they are fueled by the beliefs you hold about yourself. If you believe you are scatterbrained, inconsistent, or easily distracted, your habits will reflect that. But when you align your identity with a single mission, your habits start to shift automatically. You begin taking actions that a person committed to this mission would naturally take. You find yourself prioritizing tasks that matter, eliminating distractions without effort, and showing up consistently even when motivation is low. Because this is who you are now. The actions become automatic because the identity behind them has changed. And identity shapes more than just habits. It shapes how you handle obstacles. Before, when challenges appeared, you might have questioned your ability or considered giving up. But once your mission becomes a core part of who you are, setbacks are no longer threats, they are tests. You respond with resilience because the alternative, failure, is no longer acceptable to the person you've become. Your identity holds you accountable, and accountability is one of the most powerful drivers of progress. It's not just about discipline anymore, it's about integrity. You act consistently because being consistent is who you are. This transformation is also visible to those around you. People notice when someone has a clear sense of self and purpose. They are drawn to it, inspired by it, and often challenged by it to elevate themselves. When you operate from a strong, mission-aligned identity, your influence grows naturally. You don't need to push or force others. Your presence alone communicates commitment, focus, and strength. That influence multiplies the impact of your mission far beyond what you could achieve on your own. Your identity becomes the anchor that not only stabilizes your own actions, but also inspires and motivates others to rise alongside you. One of the most profound shifts that happens when you focus on one mission is how you handle choices. Before, life might have felt overwhelming because every decision seemed like a negotiation. Every opportunity required evaluation and every choice carried anxiety. But when your identity is firmly tied to a mission, the answer to every decision becomes clear. Does this move me closer to who I am and what I am here to achieve? If yes, you take it. If no, you let it go. That clarity eliminates internal conflict, saves energy, and increases speed. You move forward decisively because your identity does not negotiate with distractions. Your identity drives you forward relentlessly. As your identity strengthens, you also develop a sense of invincibility. Not the arrogance of believing nothing can stop you, but the quiet confidence of knowing that no matter what comes your way, you are equipped to handle it. Obstacles are no longer external threats. They are opportunities to demonstrate the power of the person you have become. Every challenge you overcome reinforces your identity, and every reinforcement makes the next challenge easier to face. You are building momentum at the deepest level, not just through action, but through the alignment of who you are at your core. And perhaps the most important element of this transformation is that it is sustainable. Motivation fluctuates, circumstances change, and external validation is never guaranteed. But when your identity is aligned with your mission, you do not rely on any of those things. You operate from an internal standard, a measure of who you are and what you are committed to becoming. That standard guides you, steadies you, and propels you forward regardless of what life throws at you. You stop living reactively and start living proactively, shaping your reality rather than being shaped by it. Focusing on one mission also teaches you what is truly important. In the process of aligning your identity, you begin to see the distractions, excuses, and superficial pursuits that used to consume your time. They fall away naturally because they no longer resonate with the person you are becoming. You learn to value quality over quantity, depth over breadth, and significance over busyness. This shift in perspective not only accelerates your progress, but also deepens your satisfaction and fulfillment. You are no longer chasing outcomes disconnected from your essence. You are living in alignment with your true purpose. Ultimately, rewiring your identity through focused commitment creates a feedback loop of success. The more you act in alignment with your mission, the stronger your identity becomes. The stronger your identity, the more natural and effortless your actions become. And the more aligned actions you take, the greater your results. And with greater results comes greater confidence, clarity, and energy. It is a cycle that compounds exponentially. The person you become while pursuing one mission is far more powerful, disciplined, and unstoppable than the person who drifts from task to task, hope to hope, and opportunity to opportunity. When you fully embrace a single mission, you stop being a spectator in your own life. You step into the driver's seat. You stop reacting to the world and start designing it. You stop hoping for change and start embodying it. And in the process, you realize that identity isn't something you find. It's something you create. You're not defined by your past, your circumstances, or the limitations others have imposed on you. You are defined by the mission you choose and the person you decide to become to see it through. The power of focusing on one mission is not just in the results you achieve. It is in the transformation of the person achieving them. Consistency is the heartbeat of achievement. Most people misunderstand it. They think consistency is about forcing yourself to act every day, grinding through willpower when motivation fades. That's not what I'm talking about. True consistency comes when your mission becomes so clear, so compelling, and so deeply connected to who you are that showing up is no longer optional. It becomes automatic. It's no longer a struggle to push yourself forward because the momentum of purpose carries you. You don't rely on fleeting motivation or external pressure. Your commitment creates a rhythm in your life that makes action effortless. When your mind is fully locked on one mission, something remarkable happens. Consistency stops feeling like a task and starts feeling like a natural extension of your identity. Before, you might have skipped days, hesitated on projects, or wavered in your effort because nothing felt urgent or aligned. But once you commit, each day becomes an opportunity to reinforce the person you are becoming. Every action, every step, every small victory builds upon the last. Consistency is no longer a chore. It becomes the byproduct of your alignment, the natural result of your focus. The key to effortless consistency is purpose. When your mission is compelling enough, it creates a gravitational pull that draws your attention and energy toward it every single day. You don't have to ask, do I feel like it today? You don't debate whether to act or postpone. You act because acting is who you are. The more deeply your mission resonates with your identity, the more automatic your actions become. And this is where ordinary people stumble. They try to rely on self-discipline alone without creating a mission that moves them from the inside out. Discipline without purpose is fleeting. Purpose without action is meaningless. But when purpose and action align, consistency is inevitable. Consistency is also a multiplier. Small, repeated actions accumulate into massive results. Most people underestimate the power of doing just a little more every day, consistently, over time. They look for shortcuts, overnight transformations, or sudden breakthroughs, but breakthroughs are rarely sudden. They are the natural consequence of persistent, focused effort. One day of action may seem insignificant, but when repeated over weeks, months, and years, it compounds into unstoppable momentum. When your mind is committed to a single mission, each day feeds the next, and the energy of past effort propels future action. Think about the impact of showing up even when it's hard. Life will throw obstacles, distractions, and fatigue at you. The world tests every person who wants to achieve greatness. But when consistency is built on alignment and purpose, setbacks no longer derail you. Missing a day doesn't shatter your progress because consistency is no longer about perfection. It's about return. You come back. You adapt. You adjust. The mission doesn't stop because you stumble. The mission carries you forward. That's the difference between someone who achieves and someone who merely dreams. Consistency also transforms confidence. Each time you follow through, you reinforce the belief that you are capable of delivering, capable of handling challenges, and capable of achieving the extraordinary. Doubt fades because it has nowhere to anchor itself. Inconsistency breeds uncertainty, fear, and hesitation, but alignment and repetition build certainty. When you show up every day, even in small ways, you are training your mind to trust itself, training your actions to become automatic, and training your results to compound. That trust is invaluable because it becomes the foundation for every future endeavor. Another key aspect of consistency is how it interacts with discipline. Discipline is often misunderstood as willpower, the internal fight to push yourself when you don't feel like it. But true discipline emerges naturally when your mind is committed to a single mission. You don't need to force yourself because your identity and purpose create the structure for action. The harder you try to force consistency through willpower alone, the more exhausting it becomes. But when alignment leads the way, discipline becomes effortless. Showing up is no longer about effort, it becomes about integrity. You show up because it is who you are, not because someone else is watching or because you feel guilty if you don't. Consistency also protects you from distraction. In a world full of endless choices, opportunities, and interruptions, it's easy to drift away from what matters most. When you have a clear mission, each action serves as a checkpoint, a marker that keeps you on the path. You begin to recognize what is important and what is noise. You develop the ability to say no to everything that doesn't move you forward. The clarity of purpose shields your attention, and the routine of consistent action creates a natural barrier against deviation. The more consistent you are, the less influence outside forces have over your progress. One of the most profound effects of consistency is how it shapes resilience. Life is unpredictable, and challenges are inevitable. But consistent action creates a rhythm that carries you through uncertainty, even when external conditions are unfavorable, when resources are scarce, or when obstacles seem insurmountable. The discipline of showing up day after day keeps your mission alive. Each action, no matter how small, reinforces momentum and ensures you never lose ground. Consistency becomes your anchor, and in turbulent times, it is the one thing you can rely on to keep moving forward. Consistency also amplifies learning. Every time you take deliberate, repeated action, you gain feedback. You discover what works and what doesn't. You refine your approach. You gain insight into your strengths, weaknesses, and the strategies that produce results. Without consistency, you never accumulate enough experience to understand the true mechanics of success. But with it, each day becomes a lesson, and each lesson compounds into mastery. You're no longer guessing. You're building a body of knowledge and skill that grows exponentially over time. Perhaps the most powerful element of consistency is how it compounds impact. Most people underestimate the exponential nature of repeated action. One small step repeated daily becomes massive over months and years. One decision to stay committed compounds into influence, results, and opportunity. The world rewards persistence more than brilliance, and consistency is persistence in action. When you focus your mind on one mission, every day becomes an investment in exponential growth. Every effort, no matter how small, multiplies because it is aligned with purpose and sustained over time. Consistency also builds credibility. People notice those who show up relentlessly. They respect the person who acts with integrity day after day. Whether it's in business, relationships, or personal development, consistency communicates reliability, trustworthiness, and mastery. It attracts opportunities and relationships that align with your mission because the world responds to those who deliver predictably and persistently. Your actions create a reputation that precedes you, and that reputation accelerates your ability to influence, lead, and achieve. Ultimately, true consistency is not about forcing yourself to act in spite of life. It is about aligning your life so that action becomes inevitable. It is about creating a mission that is so compelling, so connected to your identity, that showing up every day is the only option. It is about transforming discipline from a struggle into a natural extension of who you are. It is about turning effort into rhythm, rhythm into momentum, and momentum into unstoppable progress. When your mind is locked on one mission, consistency ceases to be a choice. It becomes a lifestyle, a state of being, and the engine that drives extraordinary results. Distractions are everywhere, and most people underestimate the cost they carry. Every time your attention is pulled in a different direction, a piece of your energy and focus is lost, and what you think is just a minor interruption is actually a major thief of progress. When you don't have a single mission guiding your actions, you're like a leaf in the wind, constantly being pushed and pulled by every passing thought, opportunity, and demand. The world is full of noise, full of things that claim to matter, full of shiny objects designed to grab your attention. But the truth is, most of them don't serve your purpose. Once you focus your mind on one mission, however, distractions lose their power. They no longer control you. They become noise in the background while you move with relentless precision toward what truly matters. When your mind is locked onto one mission, you develop what I call controlled focus, the ability to consciously choose what deserves your attention and what doesn't. This is not about ignoring the world. It's about commanding your place within it. It's about deciding where your energy will flow and being unwilling to let trivial interruptions steal it. Most people operate reactively. Their phones buzz, a message appears, a social media notification pops up, and immediately their attention is hijacked. Every day, dozens of small disruptions like this chip away at progress. But when your mind is focused, you no longer allow these distractions to dictate your behavior. You create boundaries around your attention and protect the precious resource of your energy. Learning to say no is central to this process. Most people misunderstand the power of no. They think saying no is limiting themselves, holding themselves back, or missing opportunities. But the truth is, saying no is one of the most liberating actions you can take when you are committed to a mission. Every no is an affirmation of what matters most. Every no frees up energy to pour into the mission that will define your life. It's not rejection of opportunity, it's the intelligent allocation of energy. Saying no doesn't shrink your life, it expands it because it protects the focus that allows extraordinary results to emerge. Once distractions lose their power, your mind begins to operate differently. You notice opportunities that were invisible before. Your thoughts become sharper. Your decision-making becomes faster and more precise. When you're not constantly pulled away by minor interruptions, you can go deeper, think clearer, and act more decisively. The ability to focus on what truly matters amplifies everything you do. It's like turning on a spotlight in a dark room. You start to see details you never noticed, paths that were hidden before, and solutions that seemed impossible when your attention was scattered. Distractions are not just external, they are internal as well. Most people allow their own doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs to divert their energy. I'm not ready yet. I don't have enough experience. Maybe this isn't the right time. These thoughts are subtle thieves of focus. But when you commit to one mission, your mind becomes disciplined. You recognize these internal distractions for what they are, noise, and you redirect your energy toward action. You no longer give power to fear or hesitation because your mission is bigger than your doubts. Your focus becomes a shield that protects your forward movement from both external and internal interruptions. The discipline to protect your focus also develops resilience. Life will throw curveballs, unexpected challenges, and crises designed to shake you. Most people get distracted by setbacks, losing momentum and energy, but when your mind is focused on one mission, you learn to navigate these disruptions without losing sight of your goal. Challenges no longer derail you. They test your commitment and strengthen it. Every time you return to your mission after a distraction, you reinforce the habit of focus, and that habit compounds into unstoppable momentum. Focus also allows you to prioritize effectively. When everything demands your attention, nothing receives it. But when you commit to one mission, decisions become simpler. You evaluate everything in light of that mission. Does this move me forward or does it pull me away? The answer becomes obvious. You stop wasting time on things that don't matter. You stop draining your energy on tasks that feel urgent but are actually inconsequential. And because your priorities are clear, your energy is concentrated where it produces the greatest impact. Another remarkable effect of eliminating distractions is the clarity it brings to your creative and strategic thinking. Most breakthroughs require deep thinking and uninterrupted focus. If your mind is constantly scattered, you never reach the depth required to innovate, problem solve, or execute at the highest level. But when distractions lose their power, your mind can fully engage with the challenge at hand. You see patterns that were invisible before. You connect ideas that seemed unrelated. You discover solutions that would have been impossible in a fragmented state of mind. Focus multiplies not only your energy, but also your intelligence and creativity. The ripple effects of controlling distractions extend beyond productivity. When you focus on what truly matters, your confidence grows. You stop doubting yourself because your actions are aligned with your mission. You stop comparing yourself to others because you are fully immersed in your own purpose. You stop wasting energy on trivial matters because you are busy building something meaningful. Your identity, your energy, and your momentum all reinforce each other. Each day you protect your focus, you strengthen the foundation of your mission and the person you are becoming. And here's the most profound truth. The ability to resist distractions is not about self-denial, it's about freedom. Most people think freedom means doing whatever they want, whenever they want. But true freedom comes from mastering your attention, from controlling where your energy goes, from dedicating yourself fully to what matters most. When you focus your mind on one mission, you are no longer a slave to external demands or internal chaos. You are free to create, free to achieve, free to live the life you've chosen. That freedom is powerful, transformative, and deeply satisfying. The ability to focus also creates leverage. When distractions no longer fragment your energy, every effort is magnified. 1 hour of focused work produces results equivalent to several hours of scattered effort. One decision aligned with your mission has a ripple effect that multiplies across your life. Focus becomes a force multiplier, exponentially increasing your productivity, influence, and impact. Every action compounds because it is supported by intention, clarity, and undivided attention. As your mission becomes central, distractions that once seemed irresistible fade into irrelevance. Social media, gossip, unnecessary obligations, and other minor pulls lose their grip because your mind is engaged in something bigger than them. The energy that used to be wasted on trivialities is now available for meaningful progress. You begin to experience flow, that state where time disappears and your actions feel effortless because your attention is fully invested in what matters. That is the state where extraordinary results are born. And perhaps the most important thing is that this ability to eliminate distractions is not a one-time skill. It is a habit. Every day you protect your focus, you strengthen it. Every time you resist the temptation that pulls you away from your mission, you train your mind to stay on course. And the more you practice this, the more automatic it becomes. Your focus becomes second nature, your energy becomes concentrated, and your results become unstoppable. Distractions are not going away. The world will always compete for your attention. But when you focus your mind on one mission, distractions become powerless. They may exist, but they no longer control you, slow you down, or steal your energy. Your mission becomes bigger than anything that tries to pull you away. And in that clarity and commitment, you become unshakable. The ability to focus and resist distractions is one of the most powerful skills a person can develop, and it is the key to turning potential into extraordinary achievement. Momentum is the ultimate game changer. Most people underestimate its power because they see results as a series of isolated events, but success doesn't happen in pieces. It compounds. Momentum is what takes small actions and turns them into unstoppable progress. It's what transforms consistent effort into breakthroughs. And the moment your mind locks onto a single mission, momentum starts building almost automatically. At first, you might not notice it. A single step, a single decision, a single action may feel insignificant, but every move forward adds energy to the system, and before long, the progress accelerates in ways that feel almost magical. When you focus on one mission, momentum begins at the simplest level, taking action. Most people fail not because they lack talent or resources, but because they fail to start, or they start and stop, hesitant, inconsistent, uncertain. Every delay, every pause, every distraction breaks momentum before it can form. But when your mind is committed, every step forward builds on the last. Action fuels action. Each decision to move, each small victory, each task completed sends a signal to your mind and your body. You are capable. You are committed. You are moving. And that signal compounds. Momentum grows quietly at first, but once it reaches a critical mass, it becomes unstoppable. Momentum doesn't just make action easier, it magnifies results. One small effort compounded over days, weeks, and months creates exponential impact. What once seemed impossible becomes possible, not because of a single heroic effort, but because your actions have built a force too strong to resist. You begin to see results that reinforce your confidence, which in turn propels you forward faster. The more momentum you build, the more the universe seems to conspire in your favor. Opportunities appear that were invisible before. People step up to support you. Challenges that used to intimidate you shrink in comparison to the power you've created. Momentum turns ordinary effort into extraordinary outcomes. Momentum also changes your psychology. When you are moving consistently towards your mission, hesitation fades, doubt loses its grip, fear becomes manageable. You start to trust yourself because your actions reinforce the reality of your capabilities. Every forward step strengthens belief. Every completed task proves to your subconscious mind that you can achieve, that you are moving in the right direction, and that you are capable of more than you thought. That internal reinforcement is powerful because success is as much about mindset as it is about action. Momentum creates a psychological advantage that compounds alongside your tangible results. And here's the critical point. Momentum creates breakthroughs. Most people wait for breakthroughs to happen suddenly, like a bolt of lightning from the sky. But real breakthroughs are rarely sudden. They are the natural outcome of accumulated effort, focus, and alignment. Each small success compounds until the force of momentum is so strong that it breaks through barriers that once seemed insurmountable. Challenges that would have stopped you earlier now give way. Opportunities that seemed out of reach now become attainable. Momentum doesn't just make progress easier, it makes the impossible possible. Momentum also has a protective effect against obstacles. Life will always throw challenges in your path. The difference between people who succeed and those who quit often comes down to momentum. When you are moving with purpose, obstacles are no longer stopping points. They are tests, opportunities to prove your strength and resilience. The energy you've built through consistent action carries you past setbacks, distractions, and difficulties. Momentum shields you from paralysis, fear, and doubt because it keeps you moving even when the path is rough. Every obstacle you overcome adds fuel to the momentum, accelerating your progress further. The beauty of momentum is that it compounds on multiple levels. Physical effort, mental focus, emotional energy, and strategic decisions all build together. When your mission is clear, your energy is focused, your identity is aligned, your actions are consistent, and distractions are neutralized, all these forces feed into momentum simultaneously. It becomes not just movement, but acceleration. One small breakthrough feeds the next. One decision opens the door to new opportunities. One completed action builds confidence that fuels even more action. Before long, your life begins to shift in ways that feel inevitable, unstoppable, almost magical. Momentum also accelerates learning. Every step forward teaches you something new, and every experience compounds your wisdom. Mistakes become lessons, challenges become data points, wins become evidence of your capabilities. With momentum, you learn faster because each action is reinforced by the energy and focus you've created. You don't just move forward, you grow forward. Your abilities expand as your results compound, and your capacity to handle greater challenges increases with the momentum you've built. Momentum is contagious. When you are moving with purpose, when your energy is aligned and unstoppable, people around you feel it. Teams, friends, colleagues, they sense your drive, your intensity, your focus. Momentum creates influence because it is visible, tangible, and inspiring. Others are drawn to it, and when you attract the right people, your mission accelerates even faster. The power of momentum extends beyond you. It multiplies through the people, resources, and opportunities you align with. The critical mistake most people make is thinking momentum starts with results. It doesn't. Momentum starts with action. You can't wait to feel ready, to feel inspired, or to see immediate outcomes. You start moving, and momentum forms through movement. The first step may be uncomfortable, uncertain, or awkward, but it is the step that ignites the force that carries you forward. The momentum grows quietly at first, often unnoticed, until it reaches a tipping point where progress accelerates rapidly, results multiply, and everything begins to flow naturally. And once momentum is building, it creates a self-reinforcing cycle. Action produces results. Results produce confidence. Confidence produces more action, and more action produces even greater results. The feedback loop is exponential. The further you move, the easier it becomes to keep moving. The more you achieve, the more powerful you feel. The more momentum you generate, the more unstoppable you become. That is why focus, consistency, and alignment are so critical. They are the conditions that allow momentum to form and thrive. Momentum also reduces friction. When you are moving with force, decisions become easier, obstacles become manageable, and energy flows naturally. It is like riding a wave. The harder it is to start, the easier it is to continue once you are in motion. That initial effort may feel challenging, but once momentum forms, it carries you past resistance, doubt, and fatigue. Momentum is energy in motion, and energy in motion accelerates everything in its path. Ultimately, the power of momentum is transformative because it turns ordinary action into extraordinary results. You may start small, uncertain, or hesitant, but each step compounds until the force you generate is unstoppable. Small wins accumulate into breakthroughs. Challenges that once seemed impossible become opportunities. Decisions that once felt heavy become effortless. Momentum creates an environment where success compounds, confidence multiplies, and growth accelerates beyond what you imagined was possible. Once momentum is in motion, it becomes your greatest ally. It protects you from distraction, amplifies your efforts, accelerates learning, and propels you past obstacles. It is the force that turns persistence into results and dreams into reality. Momentum is unstoppable once you give it direction, energy, and focus.